There are many expectations we put on ourselves as parents these days. Our parenting habits are probably what we worry about and berate ourselves over more than any other area of our lives. It's the one thing we are truly terrified of messing up. Are we depriving our kids of worthwhile experiences by not enrolling them in every possible extracurricular activity? Will they grow up to be social pariahs because we chose to homeschool them? I myself have fallen into the trap of believing my kids need to have things that, in reality, they don't really need. When they're all grown up, I don't think they'll look back and wish that they always had the latest toys, clothing, and technology, or a schedule full of activities. I'm Marisa from Call to Mothering, and I encourage and equip moms who are raising toddlers to teens. In today's video, I'm sharing 8 things your kids need most from you in order to thrive emotionally, socially, and mentally. Number 1, opportunities for responsibility. I grew up in a household where I was constantly made to feel guilty for not pulling my own weight, so I decided that when I had kids, I would ask very little of them. And as you can probably imagine, this backfired on me pretty badly. Then in stepped my husband, pointing out that I can still serve my children without waiting on them hand and foot. Both now have assigned daily chores and are also expected to pick up after themselves and do their own laundry. And no, they aren't paid for any of these. Our children don't need us to step in and do everything for them. They need to learn responsibility in order to become fully functioning adults. Number 2, opportunities to gain confidence. Our kids also need to learn how to work out problems for themselves. I have been guilty of rushing in too quickly with a solution when one of my children is struggling, instead of allowing them to build confidence in their abilities. They shouldn't be enabled to act lazy, always expecting someone else to pick up the slack for them. We need to make sure that their chores and our expectations of our kids are age appropriate, but children will rise to the challenges they're given. Number 3, more family time. Instead of everybody running off to different clubs and sports here and there throughout the week, make it a point of doing activities together. Your kids don't really need to discover what they're good at the tender age of 5. What they need is quality time spent with you, with their family. On average, American families engage in less than 30 minutes of direct parent-child conversation each day. Start by taking a good hard look at your weekly schedules to see where the members of your family are truly spending their time. Decide to cut back on some extracurricular activities. Identify a 1-hour window every day when everyone can be together. Plan a family game or a movie night on Friday or Saturday. I promise you, the sacrifice of a dance class or soccer practice will be well worth the trade-off. Number 4, parents with a strong, healthy marriage. While children are important, they shouldn't be prioritized above their relationship with your husband. Too many of us slip into a child-centered marriage slowly over the years, and before we know it, our spouse becomes just another person to take care of. Kids thrive when they have the stability that a solid marital relationship provides, but sometimes it takes everything I have to be their mom, and unfortunately, that doesn't leave much for my husband. So I found that you need to be intentional, and sometimes that means getting creative. For instance, while our kids were involved in Awana on Wednesday nights, instead of attending separate Bible studies, my husband and I spent that block of time together. Now that our kids are older and able to stay home by themselves, we have a standing Friday date night. It's never anything too fancy, usually just grabbing a bite to eat and going for coffee afterwards. but it gives us a specific point to connect during our busy week. By the way, if you find this content helpful, like this video and be sure to subscribe for more parenting tips. Number 5, limits and filters on the internet. This may seem obvious, but few parents realize what a loaded gun unfiltered internet access is until something bad happens. All too often, a kid accidentally stumbles upon something they can never unsee, or they start a seemingly innocent relationship with someone who is not innocent at all, but actually a dangerous predator. In addition, kids need limits on the time and locations they spend online, along with limited usage of a smartphone. Through their phones, kids today have full access to a buffet of unhealthy content. Pornography, stunt videos, or challenges that inspire unsafe behavior, and carefully curated and filtered posts and images that present perfect bodies or lifestyles. They are exposed to cyberbullies and sexual predators, misleading information, negative stereotypes, feelings of low self-worth as a result of comparing themselves to others on social media, and endless opportunities to be peer pressured into making regrettable, lasting decisions. Contrary to popular belief, our kids expect us to protect them. Of course, they may not always agree with every rule and boundary, and that's because they don't know what they don't know. Temporarily feeling like they're missing out or that you are lame as a parent is actually a pretty small price to pay compared to long-term adult-sized problems. Number 6, the gift of being a kid. There is a danger in sheltering our kids too much, but there is also a danger in telling them too much about our harsh world too soon. Just like unfiltered access to the internet, unfiltered access to current events, especially seen through someone else's viewpoint, can be harmful to kids. So save the really tough and troubling topics until they're old enough and strong enough to carry the burden of that knowledge. It's true we can't shield our children from all of the pain and hurt in this world, but we can filter out what they're not able to process yet. We can gradually expose them to those things they're ready to handle when they're ready to handle them, and not a moment before. A great way of not sheltering your kids from the hard things in the world is to involve them in age-appropriate ministry and community service, like volunteering at a food bank or participating in a winter coat drive or perhaps a diaper drive for those in need. Number 7, permission to use you as their out. There will be times, unfortunately, when your kids find themselves in a situation they know is trouble. They will be faced with drinking, drugs, and other just do it situations that are either harmful to them or they just don't want to participate in. So give them an out. Tell them they can say that you have the superpower of knowing all, and that they will be indentured to a life of chores and Friday night board games with their parents forever. When they need an excuse in a bad situation, give them permission to blame you in order to get out of it. And finally, they need to know that you will always be there. Life is hard. As our kids grow and change, they need to know that we will always be there for them. They need to know we enjoy spending time with them, that we're proud of them, and that we are on their side, even if we don't always agree with the choices they make. Ultimately, our children need to feel like they can come to us no matter what, and that we will be an anchor for them in this big and scary world. With all of the things we can give our kids, these are by far the most valuable. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, you are not just a mom.